I have a question concerning the Build Back Dumber plan, as I call it.
Yeah.
Specifically, how do you feel about the success of that plan being passed? And if it is passed, how will that impact the economy and us little people?
Well, it's going to be building. It's going to be building poverty back better than poverty has ever been built before, and it is. But they can't see that. Fortunately, Joe Manchin is seeing it, but unfortunately, what he wants to take out of the bill, they will likely take out on a temporary basis, assuming that they'll get it back in some other way. They'll still keep money flowing to some of these pet projects. I believe it's going to pass, not in the current form, but in enough form that it's not going to do anything but get us deeper and deeper in debt, because building is spending more. Build back better by spending more to get better. And it's not to get better, it's to get more social control and more power and more money. It's not for any other reason. So there's nothing about the plan, maybe this is an overstatement, but there's nothing about the plan that is any good. And there's nothing about the plan that is going to work. The bill they just passed and signed into law, the CBO says $450 billion. It's going to put us into debt. The CBO has never been right about anything. Now, the CBO is also taking the assumptions of the taxing that they're going to do, that's just going to happen and it's going to work. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. And remember, it was supposed to cost zero. So they've said 250 billion. And I'm wrong. I mean, that's not an exact number. I forget what the number is they said, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. But it's a far cry from zero. So, we're printing. If that's the case, we're taxing $750 billion. There isn't that much tax to be had. You could tax all the 10%, 100%, and year after year after year would dry up. It's not possible. Not to mention, you wouldn't have any development. So it's going to create, a horrible situation. It's probably going to happen. It is going to be extremely necessary for us to ignore inflation for a while, continue to print money, even right now, meaning that the Federal Reserve or the Treasury Department is never going to allow interest rates to go up. And so that means, because if interest rates go up, that's another, 100, 200, $500 billion that they've got to add to national debt just to service our debt. So the interest goes into the debt. So they don't want to do that. And we're very quickly, rapidly, at a very fast pace, getting to a point where we're going to be adding $1 trillion every year to our debt just in interest to pay the debt that we've gotten ourselves into. Right now, we're sitting probably around 600 billion. So we're very close to that. So, but it's not going to work. It's probably going to get passed in some way, shape, or form. It's going to be, unless Virginia gets a hold of some of the minds of other Democrats. That's what it's going to take. And if that happens, then maybe it won't. And the closer we get to the midterm elections without it happening, the better off we can be. But I can tell you from the last bill that just passed, it would appear as though none of the Democrats care a lick about getting reelected, which scares me even more, because that means that they're buying into Pelosi whispering in their ear, trust me, you're going to get reelected. We got it taken care of, which means that the fix is in, which means that the presidential election, the fix will be in. So that's even a scarier thought. 12 of them have already agreed to not run for reelection because they know they can't win. So that gives me some encouragement that maybe the fix isn't in. But I don't know. They're going to lose horribly. And I guess they're just all about the moment and want to get as much as they possibly can get done before the midterm elections for the good of the country, for the good of the progressive movement, for the good of globalism. And maybe there are a lot of congressmen that are falling on their swords for the ideology that they worship. I mean, I guess that's what it could be, but I doubt it. So it's going to pass in some way, shape, or form. Manchin will be satisfied. They will give him what he wants. It's not a big deal what he wants. One of the things he wants is the Johnson Amendment. He doesn't want to use federal dollars to pay for abortion. I mean, he's got to take that stand or he's going to lose in a state that's 80% Republican. So he's taken that stand. They'll probably give him that. There will be a lot of people in ministry that are going to be very excited by that. I'm not going to be because they will somehow, some way, shape, or form more than fund Planned Parenthood for everything they need. And so it's going to be a very interesting debate, but I think it's going to happen. And we're going to continue to spiral into inflation. And eventually, at a certain point, I'm not a reset of the currency kind of person yet. I mean, I am. I know that it can happen. I know that it will happen maybe someday if they keep going down this road. But I think we're still a ways off from that. I think there's some printing that they can do. But at some point in time, it's going to stop, probably within the next 4 years if they continue this pace. And the dollar is going to devalue a great deal. And when that happens, hyperinflation won't do justice what'll happen. So, but they're the problem, and I've said this for 8 years during the Obama administration, and I'm saying it again. The biggest fools in this country will be the fools that are blaming the Democrats, because the problem is with Republicans. And they do not have the backbone to fight. They just don't have the backbone. Hey, remember to click the subscribe button right here on the screen. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when new content is added. And more importantly than anything, you don't want to miss all 3 live hours of Financial Issues every day from 9 to noon. And you can watch it on FI.